Hi, and welcome to another very special episode of Venus Special with your special host, me, Mahesh Kulnani. And guess what? I got another very special guest for you, a very good and personal friend of mine, Mr. Adam Khan.
Hi, Mahesh.
How are you doing, Adam?
Very well, thanks. Pleasure to be here.
Me and Adam actually haven't seen each other for a while since university. We used to go to university together. How you been? How's things since uni?
It's been quite a few years, hasn't it?
It actually has, yeah.
It has. Yeah, very, very hectic, obviously. As you remember at uni, I was hardly ever there anyway, because I was always away racing. But, yeah,
He hardly came in. Like, very few lectures.
I was pestering you for the notes, do you remember, all the time? I was like, Mahesh, can you help me? No,
Calls, everything, emails, yeah, I need the notes.
But we became good friends, so that's
that was one of the benefits.
That's a positive. No, it's just been very, very busy, Mahesh, you know. Been on with various projects since I left university, and of course, the racing is the predominant aspect of my life now, so yeah, it's been pretty good.
How's things with the racing?
Yeah, very well. Just currently trying to finance a Formula One race drive. As you're aware, after I left university, I got a test driver role with the Renault Formula One team.
Nice.
And
nice.
Yeah, the sort of first British Asian stroke Pakistani F1 driver, if you like, and Muslim F1 driver, which is, I'm very proud to say I actually did that. I didn't really make much of a big deal out of it, but in hindsight, maybe that would have been better to have done that. Unfortunately, now the requisite is that the drivers have to bring in a lot of sponsorship money with them to drive. So I'm on with that at the moment. We've sort of got half the money raised for an F1 drive next year. Now we're sort of trying to finance the other half through various means. But yeah.
Tell me about your journey in terms of racing. I mean, where did you start initially?
Yeah.
And how did you get to the point where you are now?
Yeah, it's quite an interesting story. I actually won a bet with somebody to have a go in a racing car.
Oh, really? Is that how it all started?
That's how it all started, when I was 16 years old. And I'd never actually had any experience of driving a car before.
Okay.
I was just a normal school kid, very good academically, and yeah, just home, school, home. That was my regular ritual.
So by very good academic, do you mean geek? You were basically.
Yeah. Okay.
Even I couldn't believe that. Yeah.
The quintessential opposite of what is supposed to be a cool racing driver. Anyway, I said I'm.
Yeah, what would Lewis Hamilton say? Seriously.
I guess I wouldn't fit in with that crowd anyway. But yeah, I sort of got an opportunity to drive purely by just, I don't know, divine intervention or luck, as it were. And I was fortunate enough to actually discover my talent and ability for driving.
Nice.
Just something I was just naturally good at, and speed, car control, you know, the whole aspect of racing was just very, very natural to me.
And when the first time you did it, were you like, you know, this is what I'm born to do?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
This is my
Well, I didn't think,
skill.
I personally didn't think that, but people who'd witnessed me driving for the first time, and these were professional racing drivers, you know, race school instructors, and so on, they were just adamant, look, this kid is very, very naturally talented. I mean, I smashed the lap record at Silverstone, youngest lap record holder at the Stowe circuit, you know, won my first ever car race by a country mile against experienced racing drivers, which was the shock to everybody. I was quite a fat kid back then, just about managed to squeeze into the racing cars, and you know.
So you're not your typical race car driver then?
Well, I've sort of made myself into. I've sort of conformed now to that aspect, but obviously you have to do a lot of fitness training and things like that. But when I first started, of course, I had no experience of driving, so
nice.
Or racing or competing in any sport for that matter. I wasn't.
So that was your talent. I mean, you knew it instantly. Like, this is it. Racing is it.
Well, I'd always had very, very positive thoughts from the moment I started, and the very first day I drove, went down to the Silverstone Racing School. You know, there was a Formula One car testing there, and as soon as I heard the noise of the car scream past, I just knew I'd be doing that one day. I just said, that's what I want to do, and that's what I'm going to do.
I mean, were you good at any other sports? Did you think maybe, you know, maybe football, maybe cricket, maybe anything else?
Nothing like that
racing,
at all.
Yeah.
Nothing like that at all. Actually, I was born in Yorkshire because my mum, she's a bit of a cricket fan, so she wanted me to be born there so I could play for Yorkshire.
Nice.
Of course, yeah, that's the true story, but I didn't really get into cricket. No.
That's good. I mean, at least, you know, you're doing something different. Formula One, racing. That's actually, you know, pretty damn cool.
Thank you.
So tell me, like, how did you become Pakistan's A1 driver? Why specifically Pakistan?
Right, well, my father was born in Lahore,
Yeah.
in Pakistan, and it was by virtue of that fact that I was enabled to drive for the... I fitted the regulations to drive for the A1 Pakistan team. I was approached by them in early 2005 by the series organisers to come and drive for them.
Yeah.
They actually had another driver previous to me
who
was there at the official launch and everything else. I came on a bit later.
Okay.
But, I mean, the other driver wasn't a particularly good driver, unfortunately, for him.
Okay.
And when we
Unfortunately for you.
Fortunately for me, yeah. But, you know, I don't look at it like that. You know, nice enough chap, but no, he wasn't good enough for the job.
Okay.
So they asked me to sort of move in and take his place, which I did very, very happily and was very, very proud to represent the nation of Pakistan.
Nice. But even though your father was only born in Pakistan, that was okay for you to drive with
That's
Pakistan?
right, yeah.
Okay. Because he's of Indian origin?
Mixed origin, yeah.
Mixed
Iranian,
origin.
Indian, mixed, yeah.
And your mother? Is she
She's mixed Portuguese, born in India. So
okay, so predominantly you're Indian. I mean, if you had to consider one nation, it would be India.
Well, you say that, but you know, my grandmother wouldn't. She was born in Delhi, but of course she's a proud Pakistani because her
she's actually your grandmother is actually Pakistani.
Well, she was born in India, but of course then there was the partition back in.
She's Pakistan side of India, as in back then.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, she was only a youngster when the partition took place, and of course then she moved to Pakistan, and my great uncles, her brothers, fought in the war against India and so on. So
they fought for Pakistan.
Yeah, exactly. So of course there was no it was all India before, wasn't it? So of course, you know, I mean, to me it's all much the same, but obviously there is that rivalry against India and Pakistan. I think personally it'd be good to blend the two together and have a bit of peace and harmony and some pride. But,
yeah, because we all still one country. You know, we're all brothers.
Exactly.
You know, it's unfortunate all the incidents that happen.
Maybe in a sporting sense, it's a good thing.
I mean, do you get along with the Indian drivers? You know, the Formula One drivers, the A1 drivers.
Absolutely, yeah.
What were they like when you were driving with them? You know, socializing with them.
Very nice, nice people. Probably nicer than the rest of the crowd, but yeah, seriously. But I got on very well with Narain Karthikeyan, who was driving in F1. You know, he was an experienced F1 driver. Nice. And I was beating him as well, so that was quite good.
That's very cool. I mean, who does he drive with currently? I think he's still in Formula One?
No, he's not anymore, no. He was at Hispania Racing, he's not now.
Okay.
So, yeah. I mean, there's a couple of options open to myself, but I don't really want to be going down to that sort of level of team.
Okay.
Not being disrespectful, but having been a test driver alongside Fernando Alonso at Renault Formula One, which is quite a prestigious, you know, outfit, I wanted to stay at that kind of team level, sort of midfield upwards, not sort of the lower end of teams. I could have done that and driven for Hispania or Virgin or whoever, but the fact is, you take your money there and you drive for a season, but then what happens after that? If you can't produce the results, then it kind of backfires. So be very careful in terms of managing your career. And
I mean, before we could, I want to learn a bit more about your past and you growing up, etc. But before we do that, I want to cut to a short clip about of Adam Racing. So, just going to go to my tablet PC and hopefully we can see those clips. And welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let's get back to Adam and the interview. So Adam, please tell us about your past, your background, your educational background, growing up in Yorkshire, growing up all over England.
Yeah, I've had a fairly mixed geographical background in terms of where I've been placed and moved around to by virtue of parental, commitments and jobs and so on. I was born in Yorkshire, in Bridlington, and was there for a couple of years. Moved down south, various places in the UK, and then when I was 12 years old, we sort of upped and moved to Spain.
Moved to Spain, just like that?
Just like that, just for, I don't know, just a spontaneous move on my parents' part. And that was a really good thing for me, because without that, I don't think I would be the person I am today. I experienced and saw a different side to life, living out there. It was very much out of my comfort zone initially.
Nice.
But that's a good thing because that really helped me with my racing later on. You know, the extensive travel, going to places you're not familiar with, having to compete in a pressurized environment. I get a buzz out of that now. That's what I live for. That whole competition.
I suppose growing up like that, you know, growing up in that way, it kind of, you know, you're suited for it bit better now than, you know.
Yeah, I think it makes you a more rounded individual as well, not just being settled in one particular place. That's my personal experience of it. But yeah, I lived in Spain, got chucked straight into a Spanish school, had to learn a foreign language straight away.
Do you speak Spanish?
I do fluently, yeah.
Wow.
That was the first
Very
language
cool.
I learnt, thank you. And I sort of went and learnt Italian, German, French, and I also speak Mandarin as well.
Wow.
Purely out of necessity.
For a race car driver, how many languages can he speak? Yeah.
Yeah, but
wow.
I think once you pick up one language, you then get a knack to learn the others, and that's how really it flowed from there. But
nice.
Yeah.
And did they come? You know, did they come quite easily to you?
Well, no. Initially, when I learnt Spanish, it was very, very hard. It took almost a year to learn the language. I'd never had experience of learning a foreign language before, and of course, I was in the Spanish school. I could sort of understand the gist of things, like obviously in the maths and the science classes, that was okay. But then in the linguistics classes, like languages, history, geography, etc., I didn't have a clue what was being said. So the teacher said to me, "Look, Adam, just in their Spanish stroke broken English, try and learn Spanish. We'll just give you time to settle in and everything." And they thought, yeah, maybe it would take them 3-4 months to start being able to understand. 3 or 4 months passed, and of course, I still don't have a clue because I was just really struggling. I don't think you can learn from books in that way when you learn a language initially.
Yeah.
I think it's almost like an innate thing, like a baby when it learns it. And of course, because I was older and my sort of starting to become, you know, in my teens, obviously the brain isn't as receptive as, say, when you are a baby. So I wasn't absorbing things quite as well as I thought I would. And it was very, very hard. But then once I just started picking it up in the playground almost, then it just really, I understood and learnt it very, very quickly. And I realised then there's a way in which you can learn a language through using books, but not in the way that the books profess to come across. So, yeah, I have a sort of methodology where I'll use a book, I'll learn a language simply out of a book now, but I can speak and understand it in my own head.
Nice.
So that's how I learnt Mandarin and the others.
I mean, to learn Mandarin, that must be extremely hard.
No, actually.
You said Spanish, French, etc. These are all European languages, and then bang to Asian language.
Well, actually, Mandarin was pretty easy.
Really?
Yeah.
Easier than the European language?
Yes, I would say so, because the pronunciation I got spot on first time. So I actually learnt it before I went out to China.
Nice.
Because I had quite a bit to do out there. One of the companies out there, B&Q, they're quite well known here. They're DIY people. They're very, very big in China.
Yeah.
And of course, they said, the chairman said to me, he said, "Look, if you can learn Mandarin, Adam, we'll sponsor you for your Formula 3 racing."
Nice.
So it was either a case of learn the language or don't go racing. So I had to kind of do all of that and spend time away from home. I lived in China for about 3 or 4 months.
Wow. Are you quite fluent in the languages you know?
Yes.
So in Mandarin you can speak it as close to a local. Or pretty much like that. Wow, very impressive.
I can.
Okay, I have no idea what that means, but that sounds pretty damn impressive.
Okay, anyway. So, I went out to China and had a very interesting time there. It was again, very much out of my comfort zone, but I loved it. I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
Came back, did my university, went and did my racing in Formula 3 and various other categories, and had a degree of success. Unfortunately for me, my whole sort of life, apart from 2008 onwards, my racing has always been fairly staggered.
Yeah.
Like I've done it for 1 year, then not had the sponsorship to do it the next year, and managed to scrape it together to do the next year and so on like that. So it's all a bit itty bitty in terms of my past racing, but in terms of what I've done, I've always done it very well. So in terms of the overall championships, I've never, up until 2008, even then, I did never have done a full championship. It was always individual races. So
Nice.
yeah, that was the problem for me though, because I had to combine my education with my racing. So statistically, on the record, you know, where you finished in a championship wouldn't be particularly good because that's how it's counted. But the individual races that I did, if you look at them, 3 or 4 that I maybe did,
Yeah.
they were very good, like on the podium. So that kind of worked
Pretty cool.
against and for me. With various teams. Of course, Formula One was well out of sight at this stage because it's such an elitist thing.
Yeah. And I mean, you're just starting out, you know, you're young.
That's
You know,
it.
You're just taking the steps and, you know, eventually get there.
That's it. And then, of course, the A1 Grand Prix opportunity came about. Did that, travelled the world, really, really enjoyed it. Had a degree of success at the start and towards the end. Middle was a bit hazy.
What was it like representing Pakistan? I mean, were you proud?
Very proud, yeah, absolutely. I always did my
Very patriotic.
absolute best. Absolute best, and that's one thing, nobody can take that away from me. I know myself, I did my absolute best.
Yeah.
Circumstances sometimes worked for me, against me, and so on. That's the way motor racing worked.
Having said that, I mean, out of all the languages, you know, Urdu isn't one of them.
No, ironically.
No, don't worry, Hindi's not
I
one of
can
my...
understand a little bit
my
of
strong
it.
languages,
I can
yeah.
understand a little bit of Urdu and Punjabi, but I can't speak it.
It's quite hard. It's quite tough to pick up, definitely.
Yeah.
I can definitely vouch for that. Me and Adam actually went to university together. We had we spent a couple of years. It's pretty cool, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And like I previously said, Adam was hardly there, but we bonded, and I think we had been a pretty good time in university. And it shows, you know, Adam is, you know, your perfect role model, a race car driver, an athlete, sportsman, and still someone who can take education very seriously, that he wants to get a degree. And what a degree. I can vouch for that for
I
myself.
bribed him earlier.
So Adam, tell us about your university time, you know, your degree. How many years was that?
Yeah, well, it was. I came back from Spain and a gap year racing to come back to university, and of course I met some lovely friends there, and made some very good connections and lifelong friends. I think the friends you make at university are the friends you'll keep with you for the rest of your life.
Very true. And Adam actually has quite a lot of Pakistani friends from university.
Well, naturally, I kind of kept
Indians
it
are
quiet to
accents.
begin with. I didn't really want people to know, and then, of course, one of them found out.
Oh yeah, I don't think we should mention him. But
Yeah, you know who. He saw it on the TV.
Yeah, I'm actually on Google, and then bang, I see it, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? Then I go, and then that came from a Facebook group which a friend of ours sets up. And when I actually told Adam, I don't think he was too happy about that.
I was like, what?
I'm gonna leave that guy nameless. I'm not gonna mention him.
No, he's a lovely chap. He's still my friend anyway. But
No, he's still a friend of mine, definitely.
absolutely, and just made some good friends and had a good time at university. But I wasn't, into that whole university lifestyle thing because I was very focused on my racing. I was travelling. The time I did spend at university was very much in terms of studies and in the library and catching up on what I'd missed. And it's all about time management and discipline in life. I think you can do you can multitask
That's
and do
really
things
good,
well.
because your typical university student is just going out, and then his multitasking is, when can I go out, where can I work, and when can I get drunk, and when can I do my work?
Well,
yeah. So for someone to have a job like that, a profession like that, and do university work at the same time, that's amazing. Something that I think everybody needs to look up to. I'm hoping young kids can see that and say, yeah, I would like to do that. Get a good degree, but also
That's right.
concentrate
It's
on my
very, very
work.
important. I mean, education is very, very important because, believe it or not, it helped me so much in my racing as well. People give you a lot more respect.
Yeah.
You can discuss things with your engineers in a very focused and clinical fashion, which will achieve your success. It's about time management, and it's about discipline and focus on the task at hand. And you have to be able to mentally compartmentalize different things. It's all about that sort of focus and being able to almost emotionally block other things out of your head so you can focus on your sport or your task at hand, whether it's the start of a race, the lights are about to go green, or you've got a guy trying to overtake you or attack you from behind, or you're trying to overtake somebody or do a pole position lap, or you're sitting with the engineers, or you're in a press conference, and it really helped me quite a lot. I think if I'd missed out on university, I wouldn't feel as a complete package.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I had to make that little bit of a sacrifice in the racing initially, to fulfill my education.
No, but it's good. It's good. It actually helped you out on the other things you do.
That's right.
You know, your racing, etc.
That's right.
Which is a very good thing. Because a lot of times, a lot of people say, "Oh no, I shouldn't have done that degree because it hasn't helped me out in what I want to do or what I'm doing currently." But if it's helped you out, I think that's a big bonus.
Yeah. I mean, any degree would have had the same effect, I think.
But I think business management specifically, I'm being pretty biased. I think that was a good choice, definitely.
Yeah.
Because it helps you out in so many ways. And our degrees, a lot of disciplines, where we're taught a lot of things, it's quite a round degree. So, yeah, I think you got quite a bit out of it. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, theoretically, perhaps not, but like I say, in terms of the application, yes, I would say so, definitely.
Oh, yeah, no, the theory is quite a lot of rubbish. Yeah. we learned way too much. The lecturers are going to watch now. Anyway, we've got to, unfortunately, go to a break. But when we're back, we're going to chat a little bit more.
Excellent.
Maybe go into the internet and see what that's saying about you.
Okay.
All right.